All right, so let's get going, the message of the morning. How many of you ever woke up and had a dream? Exactly. So the first thing I just want to share with you a little bit about what the Kabbalist, what the Zohar, speaks about dreams. Because, there's a lot of controversy. Dreams may be just some mix of the chemicals in our brain, who knows what. They're still trying, it's funny. They're still trying to figure out what the dreams are, and for thousands of years, the Kabbalists have been telling us what they are. And it's very simple. Very simple. Dreams are a representation of ourselves, one way or another. That's why sometimes we have nightmares, sometimes we have dreams that are all mixed up we don't get, sometimes we have dreams that we have a real sense are meaningful. And the Zohar, the Kabbalists explain, that's true. When we're asleep and our soul extends out of the body, obviously it doesn't leave completely, because when a soul leaves completely, it means a person's died. But it extends out, and that's why they say sleep is 1/60th of death. Because you see most people, when they're asleep, they're pretty still, right? And sometimes you even have to check, are they really breathing? So during that time, that's when our soul can give us messages. And that's why the Kabbalists explain to us that when you have a dream, especially the dreams that are before dawn, so like right now in this time of the year, I'd say before 6 o'clock, 6:10. If you wake up before then, I would make an effort to remember that dream. Write it down, pay attention to it. Now, here's the issue. Yes, they tell us things about the future. They can give us hints of what we could be doing or what we'd like to be doing, some message about something coming up. I mean, think of it, whether it's a warning or it's a encouragement. When you drive, anybody here drive on the street? How many of you drive on the sidewalk? There it goes, the next, okay. But you see signs. I mean, there's a sign, whatever, dead end ahead or, cul-de-sac or whatever. They're warning signs, and they're giving us some message about what the future holds. So the same with dreams. But the Kabbalists explain that dreams depend on their interpretation. And that's why we have, unless it's a truly prophetic dream, like you read in the Bible, then it's a bunch of symbols. Symbology. So, you have strange things like you're driving in a green car and you're driving uphill and you fly off a mountain and different things like that. So most people will just dismiss them. But the Kabbalists explain if they are messages from our soul, it's important to read the message. And that's why they say a dream that's not interpreted is like a letter unopened. So you want to write it down, and you want to have somebody that you trust, somebody who loves you, somebody who knows how to interpret it for you. Because they even say 2,000 years ago when the Temple of Jerusalem existed, there were, in just the Temple Mount, there were 24 people who were dream interpreters. And the stories go that if one person took their same dream to all 24 interpreters, whichever way they interpreted it, they get 24 different manifestations of it. So that's why the Kabbalists explained, yes, you should only tell your dreams to people who love you and care for you. Because if it's told or interpreted in a wrong way, they could be putting influence and energy to make it come out that way. And I'll give you an example from the Bible. One of the more famous dreams from the Bible is Joseph's dream. So Joseph has a dream. If you know the whole story, he's one of, at that point, 11 brothers. He's the youngest. They're a little envious of him, so to speak, the other brothers. So he comes and he tells them, look, I had this great dream. And basically what the dream is that his father and his mother and the other 10 brothers are going to bow down to him. He will be the authority over them. So he tells them the dream, and the brothers look at him and say, no. You think you're going to be authority over us? And they start to give him a negative interpretation. And so the Kabbalists explain this is where we learn one aspect of dream interpretation. To be careful who you tell it to, because he was telling his dream to his brothers that he knew was jealous of him. So don't expect somebody who's jealous of you or envious of you to interpret a dream for your highest good. They may be a little jealous. They may try and turn it around like his brothers did. But the nice thing is what we also learn when he told his father, Jacob the patriarch, and he told him the dream. I mean, imagine, here your youngest son comes to you and says, yes, I had a dream that one day I'm going to be the authority over all of you. You and mom and I mean, this is not just a father. This is Jacob the patriarch. Right? One of the greatest people ever lived. Says, yes, I'm going to be authority over you and all my 10 brothers. I mean, wouldn't a father usually say, well, I'm not so sure. I am the father. They have those things. I'm the mommy. Okay, exactly. In fact, there's Isaiah, another idea. I'm the mommy. Okay. But you understand, but no, what did Jacob do? And it says in the Bible, and Jacob guarded the dream. What it means is he understood that this was a portent of the future. Whatever it was, he didn't know the exact details, but he understood that it was an important dream because he must have had some sense who Joseph really was. So when he said he guarded the dream, meant that he protected it from the jealousy and envy of his brothers. So it would turn out, as we know in the end of the story, Joseph, through all of his trials and tribulations, became second to Pharaoh, basically in control of all the world's resources, and had power over every human being on earth except for Pharaoh. So it came out in the end, they say, because his father guarded it. So then the same with our dreams. The same with our dreams. We have to guard our dreams. And that's really what I want to get to this morning. Because every single one of us have dreams. Dreams and aspirations, what we want to achieve, what we could be, what we'd like to be. I was thinking about it as children. Did you ever have a dream? I don't mean the dream at sleep, but like a dream of what you want to be. I mean, most kids have something. That's why everybody goes to the kids when they're 4, 5, 6. What do you want to be when you grow up? Right? They ask you. So you say, well, I want to be a great athlete. I don't know, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a businessman. I want to be a prince or a princess, something. And so we all kind of give that knowing nod, very nice, very cute. But you'll grow up one day, right? As if we're already putting doubt into dreams. But I want us to understand that as the Kabbalists teach us, we right now, right here, are living in two realities. We don't just live in this world we call Boca Raton. We don't just live here in Florida, in the United States, on earth. There are two realities that every single person lives in. There's the physical reality that we might call earth and Boca and America or what have you. That the Kabbalists explain is the 1% reality. 1% physicality, materiality, but it's only temporary. It's not eternal. But at the same time, if you will, our soul is connected, and we can be connected to what's known as the 99% realm. The realm of eternal reality, God's true universe, where everything is in bliss and harmony and peace. We have everything we could ever imagine that would make us happy and joyous and peaceful and, as I call it, blissed out. That's also existing right here, right now. So then the physical world is similar to a dream world in many, many ways. Why? Because this world is a world of symbols. It is a world that needs interpretation. Every time we're in experience, you go to work tomorrow, you have to interpret everything that's happening to you and everyone that's there according to your consciousness. And the same way, the way that we interpret dreams and make it come true, the way you interpret what happens to you at work, what happens to you on the street, what happens to you when you go shopping, the way you interpret it will determine what it brings to you. Don't look at the person next to you. Because like I told you with the 24 interpreters in the Temple of Jerusalem, you can be walking down the street, you can be watching the same movie with a good friend of yours, and at the end of the movie you like it, they didn't. Same movie, same circumstances. Because we're all interpreting our dream world, the 1%, according to our consciousness. And that's why we come here to elevate our consciousness, to be able to see it more and more as the 99% reality. Just like the dreams at night. What's God's dream? You ever stop and ask yourself? Does God go to sleep? Well, it depends on which tradition you grew up with. Sometimes they make it sound that way, right? Where was God when? And you name whatever that blank is, right? This one got hurt, there's some trouble in the world. Where was God? Well, maybe God was asleep, right? Maybe God was asleep and now God's dreaming. And then has to wake up and listen to us. God, help me, help me, help me, help me. Maybe that's why God needs sleep. But we know God doesn't sleep. So then what is God's dream? If we really boil it down, what's God's dream? Is a world of peace. We've called it heaven on earth. That's God's dream. And the beauty is God has injected that in each and every one of us. God has given us the potential. The only condition is that whatever it is that the Creator gave us, our job is to impart it and share it with others. And that's when we have the greatest connection to the light of the Creator, to the Creator itself. And that's why when we share, that's when we feel the most alive. When we're helping others, when we're sharing of what the Creator gave us, that's when we feel great. Because that's when we have the closest connection to the pure, eternal reality of bliss, of peace and harmony. So when you go back to those dreams you had as a kid, and then you look at where you are now, it may not be so far different. Because the way the dream comes to us has to come in our level. So when a dream comes to a child and they tell, yes, I want to be a prince or a princess, or I want to be this doctor or lawyer, I just want to be a great mother, father, whatever it may be, that is, if we'll look at it a little differently, that is what God implanted in us. That's God's dream for us. But you say, yeah, but not every child grows up to be a prince or a princess or a great athlete. No, but like a dream, it's our work to interpret it. What does that mean? In child language, let's say a prince or a princess could mean a few things. Have a happy life. Okay, we're all supposed to have a happy life. But what else can a prince or a princess do for other people? They can help them. They can help the poor, they can help the hungry, they can help those who are in need, right? They have that power. So that maybe then in adult language, that dream of being a prince or a princess could be a healer, could be a social worker, could just be a loving friend who has the desire to help and have impact on other people's lives around them. It doesn't necessarily mean they have to be the prince or the princess or the doctor or the athlete. Maybe the athlete is just somebody who wants to coach sports or just support children playing sports, right? Health and vitality, physical education. There's a lot of ways we could see it. So it's not that we have to leave those dreams aside as we grow up. We may have to reinterpret them according to who we are as we grow up, but the essence is still the same. Why? Because that's what God implanted in us. So if you think back to those dreams and aspirations you had as children, it may not be so far from what you're doing now. But again, according to our consciousness, will determine if we're living it or not. So sometimes, let's say that prince or princess dream, and we've become somebody who has influence over others. Maybe you're the boss. Maybe you own a business and you have employees. So you could still be the prince or princess. Are you a sharing boss, a caring boss, a loving boss, or are you just looking at the bottom line? Why aren't you working hard enough? Why are you leaving now? How come you came in late? You could be doing that too. So it's not about the dream itself. It's about who you are now and seeing it the way you are now. So as you go to work, as you're with your friends, whatever, let's start reinterpreting those dreams and aspirations that we had and find a way to put them and make them happen. Because if God gave us those dreams, it's up to us to be like Jacob. So yeah, you may have told some friends. I mean, how many times have you told your friend, God, I'd really love to be a musician, but it doesn't pay, but it doesn't this, but it doesn't that, and we have 1,000 reasons why not, and your friends look at you. You? Now? Pfft, come on, never happened. And so what happens when you tell 12 people, and they all look at you like that? You tend to give up on those dreams, right? Because you ask people who care for you, you ask the people around you, but they're showing you reality, all right? Isn't that what they say? Let's be real. Chaim, let's be real. You can't be a musician. You can't be a professional basketball player or what have you. Get real, right? This is what you're stuck with. This is what you can do. No, we're not stuck. Not stuck. How many times have we here in this forum reminded ourselves, who are we really? You forgot already, or you're just waiting for me to tell you? We are pure and perfect beings of light. That's what God created, pure and perfect beings of light, with all the resources to live our dreams and aspirations. It's just we have to put them in our frame of understanding now as adults. That's the only difference. But I'm encouraging you now to go back and guard those dreams. Whoever may have told you it's not possible or what have you, go back and look. Maybe now you can see it in a different way. Maybe now those things can come to fruition. All you need to do is use your godlike nature. Use the tools and the technology that we're teaching you here to draw on the light of the Creator to make it manifest. But never give up those dreams. Don't you dare. The opposite. Dare to live your dreams. Dare to live into them. And that's what we have to do. You have to live into them. It's like anything else. I mean, what do you think? The person who started the rags to riches story, did they start out in the beginning doing nothing? Well, okay, look at me, I'm stuck in this level. No, they had dreams and aspirations of making it in business or making it in sports or being successful with a family or whatever it was. And then they did what? They went out and worked and to live into it. They did what they needed to do, whether it was learning education, whether it was out training themselves, whatever it was. So the same thing. We're here. That's why this Kabbalah Center is not about just giving you the intellectual wisdom of Kabbalah. Over the last 20 years, 30 years that I've been in the center, a lot of people suddenly came out of the woodwork to say they're teaching Kabbalah. But if you really look at it, it's all here in the head. It's how to understand what the Zohar says and what the Kabbalah said. Can they make it practical? No, not really. Not like we can, because we have that lineage of all the great Kabbalists for thousands of years who have brought it down to a level that every single person can use it, because that's where it's meant to be. So as we use the tools and the technology, we can achieve our dreams. We'll be inspired. There'll be revelation. I had a student years ago, imagine, she was just an accountant, like a bookkeeper. So she had a great job, she enjoyed the job, but there was something gnawing inside of her. She wanted to do something to help children. But what could she do? She was an accountant, a bookkeeper. So that's it. So for years and years and years, till she came to the Kabbalah Center. And as she started to work with the tools and the technology, and she started to shift her consciousness, she started to be open to the possibility even that she could do something for children. You know what the miracle was? All of a sudden, people came to her. You know, they wanted to invest in some property where there's an elementary school. So they wanted her to help invest in it. So piece by piece by piece, she left her bookkeeping and she got into running private schools. She has 2 of them, blended out, very successful now. But she was willing to live her dream. She was willing to go out and to do what she felt internally she was meant to do. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to live those dreams. It doesn't matter what your dream is. Your dream is perfect for you. You think, if God is perfect, then could God make a mistake? Yeah, some of you, there's that fight in the head. Well, I don't know, maybe God made a mistake when he introduced me to this person or that job or that place or whatever it was, right? Maybe there was a mistake. No. Because if we open our eyes Kabbalistically and we look back on those experiences, we'll see they're the exact right thing in that moment to push you to some new level. One of the best things that ever happened to me, I got fired from a job. Most people wouldn't say that, would they? It was a great job, too. It's funny now that I'm thinking about it. I just told you the story about the school. I got fired. I was working as a PE teacher in elementary school, private elementary school where I grew up, Redondo Beach, California, by the way. Just got to throw that in there. This woman knew me from the spiritual teaching I was involved in at that time, and she offered me a job. So I started to work for her. My aspiration was to still do something spiritual, but the job became so comfortable and so nice, and I so enjoyed working with the kids, I didn't push myself to do anything as far as teaching spirituality. So she called me in after Thanksgiving, and she said, we're not going to continue your contract, or sorry, just before Thanksgiving. And I almost got up and kissed her. But I thought she'd think I was really crazy. Because I understood in that microsecond that it was the universe giving me the push to do what I really intended to do. Because what was my dream? And I've shared it here and there along the way in these in the spiritual Sundays before. Growing up and watching my grandparents go through various ailments, my desire was to remove people's pain and suffering. So first I thought it would be through medicine. That was my dream. I was going to be a doctor. I was going to save people from pain and suffering, remove all the chaos from the world. Well, that didn't quite work out the way I thought it was, but along the way I got pushed, literally pushed into spirituality. And that opened my eyes to a whole new world. And after 10 years of that, I was basically dropped, picked up like this and dropped in the Kabbalah Center, 1987. And I've been here ever since. And the beauty is that going from being a doctor to a Kabbalah teacher, it is the same as we're talking this morning. That dream of removing people's pain and suffering and their chaos. I have, I believe, a much better way to do it now, with all respect to the doctors and medical practice, but a much better way for eternity. True lasting health and vitality, true lasting healing, by teaching people how to awaken the DNA of the Creator inside them. Is it possible? What's the ultimate goal? Peace on earth. That's what I've always dreamed of, and I'm sure many of you, if you're willing to admit it, that's also your dream. But there are people out there who tell us it's an impossible dream. Never happen. They don't have the power of God to make it not happen. The power of God is the thing that makes it happen. Whether we want to or not, it's pushing us towards that. What we're here to do is to understand it is absolutely possible to see peace on earth. It's the dream of the Creator. So ultimately, it's the dream of every human being. All we have to do is start aligning ourselves. 50 years ago, my teacher, Rav Berg, his teacher passed from the world, who had a lineage and a lineage and lineage back to the original Kabbalists. When Rav Brandwein passed from the world and Rav Berg was left, it was one person. Then he got connected with Karen Berg. And the two people at that time, that was the entire Kabbalah Center. And they worked and they worked and worked. And a number of years later, I came along in 1987. When I started in the center, there were maybe a couple hundred people in the world. And as I've shared, they're mostly Jews, Persians, and Israelis. I was one of the first American teacher other than the Rav and Karen. So I remember back then, the Rav and Karen talking about peace on earth, immortality, all these grandiose ideas. And I thought, well, I like what I'm doing. Okay, that's enough. Could I really grasp the idea of reaching out to millions of people? People of all religions, all languages, studying Kabbalah? No, to be honest with you, back then I couldn't. Because the group that was there, that's what I knew. That's what I understood. Did I believe in the power of Kabbalah? Absolutely. Because I'd seen it all along the way, and everything else I was studying kept going back to the root of Kabbalah, Kabbalah, Kabbalah. But in the 30 years I'm in the center now, I've seen hundreds of thousands of people come to the center from all walks of, even here, Facebook Live. As I shared with you before, we have people from all walks of life all over the world. They're learning. We've affected millions and millions of people in just the 30 years I'm in the center. Jews, Christian, Muslim, Buddhists, Hindus, men, women, white, black, yellow, brown, all the colors, everything. That's proof for me that the Zohar and the technology of Kabbalah is the key to bring harmony and peace to the world. All we have to do is live our dreams. Use it to live our dreams. Because when the Creator set it all up and created the potential for heaven on earth, He gave each and every one of us an essential part of that. So yes, we're here to fulfill our dreams. But as we've said, the only way we can fulfill our dreams is by sharing those with others, sharing our talents and abilities, sharing because that's the nature of the Creator. The Creator receives nothing and shares everything. Our job is to share everything we have, and the beauty is, as we do that, to receive bliss, peace, heaven on earth. And it is possible, and I truly, truly believe. I mean, 30 years ago when the Rav and Karen were talking about immortality and people all over the world, hard to imagine. Now, it's hard not to imagine that we can't reach out with all that we've got here and all the people in the world and everything going on in the world. It's amazing how many more people are coming to spirituality. So can we achieve it? Absolutely. Can we achieve our dreams? Absolutely. All we need to do is practice what we're learning here. And it doesn't mean take away from what your tradition is. The opposite. Enhance everything you've ever learned and everything you've ever done with a technology called Kabbalah, because it is the source from which everything comes. And therefore it can unite everybody. So we're here, the Kabbalah Center, doing what we're doing to open up, to bring or have a space where people of all religions, backgrounds, whatever, can come together and can tie ourselves, connect ourselves to all 7 billion people on the planet, awaken the light of the Creator in them, and we can make not only our dream, but we can make God's dream of heaven on earth a reality in our time. We are that close. All we need to do is, one, accept it, believe it, and have certainty in it, and then go out and live into our dreams, the one that God gave us. And as we'll do that and we'll put the puzzles together, it won't be long before there's a critical mass, and then that ultimate dream, God's dream of heaven on earth, will take place, it will happen, and we'll all live on earth in bliss. God bless.